In this video, I'll demonstrate how to set NTFS file permissions on a Windows server. Whenever we assign permissions to any type of network resource, we need to make sure that we're adhering to the principle of least privilege. And what that means is that we're only granting enough privileges for a task to be completed and nothing more. So in the Windows world, for instance, the last thing we want to do when someone needs basic file system access is to add them to an administrators group. That's way too much power. Here in Active Directory Users and Computers, we've got a user called Helpdesk User 1, and if we open up the Help Desk by double-clicking and go to the Members tab, we can see that that user is a member of the Help Desk group. So let's go over to the file system where on drive I, my data drive on my server, I've got a folder called User Data Files. The goal here is to ensure that the Help Desk group has the ability to create folders under user data files. But what we don't want is the Help Desk group having the ability to modify user files. So to make that happen, we'll begin by right-clicking on the User Data Files folder and going into Properties. For NTFS security, we have to go under the Security tab, so I'll click on that. Now, there are some pre-canned NTFS permissions as you see here on the left, like full control, modify, read and execute, and so on. But if you look through the list, there is nothing here about creating folders. So that's considered a special permission. It's a little more granular. So I'm not going to click the Edit button because I want to add more specific permissions, otherwise called special permissions. For that, I'll click on the Advanced button. And from here, I'm going to click Add. I'll then click on the Select a Principal link, and I want to add the Help Desk group, so I'll go ahead and type that in and check the name. Looks good. I'll click OK. So my Help Desk group can either be allowed or denied access to this part of the file system. Well, we want to allow it in our scenario. I want to make sure that they are allowed the permissions that we will set to the folder itself, as well as subfolders and files within it, whether they exist now or they will exist later, because permissions in the file system get inherited by default. Now notice that when you add an entry to an ACL, so here the entry is the Help Desk group, that they get read and execute, list folder contents, and read permissions by default. That's not enough because we need the Help Desk group to be able to create folders. For that, over on the far right, I'm going to have to click the Show Advanced Permissions link. Now you'll notice that one of the permissions that is available is create folders and append data. So I'm going to turn that one on, and that's it. I'm going to click OK, and I'll click OK and OK again. Now that puts us back in Windows Explorer. Now that we've applied those changes, let's actually go back and double check our work. We can do that by right-clicking on the folder and going into Properties, then again clicking on the Security tab, again clicking the Advanced button, but this time we're going to click the Effective Access tab, where we're going to select a user that's in that group. Now we know that Help Desk User 1 was a member of that group, so we're going to select them and click OK. Now what we want to do is click the View Effective Access button down below. Now as we kind of scroll down so we can see what happens here, notice that what we do see is that they do have the ability, there's a green check mark here, and there's a little picture of a group, which means the user got it through group membership, that the Help Desk User 1 has the ability to create folders, but they can't write or delete or do anything like that. So therefore, user files are protected from that. So we've solved our issue. We've given only the required permissions in our scenario that is required for the Help Desk group. In this video, we learned how to set NTFS file system permissions.